Hello, I'm Drew, Application Engineer with SKF. Welcome to the Baker AWA Power Pack Overview. We'll begin by talking about powering up the host unit in the Power Pack. The Power Pack has a power cable specifically designed to connect to the AWA. To power the Power Pack, we have to plug the Power Pack into an AC power supply here. And that will allow us to turn the unit on and off with the power switch. In addition to power, the Power Pack also requires communication with the host unit. And for that, we have a special communications cable. It's labeled host in Power Pack and is directional, so make sure you hook it up in the appropriate orientation. Nope. Flip that over. Okay. When conducting testing, we have a push-to-test button to initiate the test. We have an e-stop switch that will secure power to the high voltage leads. That's a push to engage and a twist to reset. We have a function selector switch that has a surge position and 3 high pot current scale positions. We have the voltage control knob, which allows you to manually adjust voltage during Power Pack testing. And we have a leads energized light on either side of the tester, which will illuminate when high voltage testing is being performed. On the faceplate of the unit, below the handle, we have the test selector switch. It has 4 or 5 positions: a high pot for DC high pot testing, leads grounded position, a position 1, 2, and 3 that are used during surge tests to put the surge down the appropriate lead. The side here is where the high voltage test leads from the Power Pack come out of the bottom of the unit, and we have the 3 test leads, 1, 2, and 3. The ground lead, which would be connected to the motor or circuit under test, and then we have an additional ground lead which has a braided sheath on it that's connected to earth ground for safety. Those can be stowed on the back post here, these 2 posts. All right, now we'll demonstrate how to test a motor with the Power Pack in the manual mode, which will be very similar to the automatic operation of the tester as well. All right, so the first thing we want to do is select the high pot setup screen. And on the high pot setup screen in the high pot column there, we want to select the Enable Power Pack checkbox. Once that's checked, we need to select the appropriate test voltage, and you can just ramp that voltage up to your desired test voltage. Okay, and then when you're ready to initiate the test, you can hit run test, and then you have an on-screen set of instructions. That number 1 says disconnect the analyzer leads and place them on top of the unit. So that's the normal AWA leads. When we're using the Power Pack, we don't use these leads. Put them up on the tester so we don't get confused about which we're connecting. Step 2, connect Power Pack leads to the load under test. So the Power Pack leads that I showed you earlier that come out of the bottom of the unit, we'll connect that to our load, to our motor, or our circuit. And then step 3, move the Power Pack function knob to the proper position for this test. So since we're doing a high pot test, we have 3 positions for high pot, the 10 microamp setting per division setting, 10 and 1. And we always start on the highest, on the 100 microamp per division setting. Step 4, if present, move the test lead selector switch to the proper position for this test. So down here in the lead selector switch, which should normally be placed in the lead's ground position, we'll turn that counterclockwise to the high pot position. And now we're ready to initiate the test. We'll click continue. And now the tester informs us to start the testing. We press the Power Pack test button. We can press that there, or we could also use the foot switch that connects to the back of the tester. Okay, now I want to make sure that my voltage control knob is turned all the way counterclockwise down to 0, or the test won't initiate properly. So we'll push the test, and then the test will initiate. And we're looking at the screen here. We're going to watch voltage and current here on these 2 bar graphs. We'll see the flashing test indicator lights illuminate. Now I'll begin to increase my test voltage with the voltage control knob, being mindful of my charging current on the right bar graph. I don't want that to exceed the trip unit. The faster you ramp, the higher that current will be. So be sure to be mindful of that current. Once your test voltage is achieved, the timer will begin. And you'll see the countdown timer begin. And if your current is less than half of the lowest increment, we'll take the microamp per division setting and we'll reduce it to the next scale. And you'll see the scale change here. Again, if our current as it is now below the half of the lowest division, we'll take it to the final and lowest 1 microamp per division setting. And this will ensure we have the most accurate current reading for our measurement. You want to make sure you get there expeditiously because we want to make sure we get there before our timer runs out. You have to continue to hold the push to test button for this entire test. All right, and once the timer runs out, we'll release the push to test button, and you'll see that it says here waiting for the voltage on the leads to discharge before continuing. And what we want to do is take our test lead selector switch from the high pot position to the leads ground position, and that'll ensure a grounding path for our test circuit. And then we should wait as long as we have the test voltage applied for the circuit to completely discharge. Okay. All right. Okay, now we're going to demonstrate the use of the power pack to surge test a motor winding. The first thing we want to do is ensure our function selector switch is in the surge test position at 12 o'clock. Once that's been verified, we're going to go into the software setup screen for surge testing and check the enable power pack checkbox. Okay. Make sure your test voltage is set appropriately, what you want, and when you're ready to initiate the test, we're going to hit the lead one button. And it's going to direct us now to move the test lead selector switch to the lead 1 position. So the test lead selector switch, which should again be in the leads grounded position from our last test, will be rotated to the clockwise to the position 1. Now we're ready to initiate our test. We're going to push the test button, or again you can use the foot switch that connects up under the back. Oh, I got to hit OK first. Okay, and now we push the test button to initiate the test. Now remember that the voltage control knob has to be all the way counterclockwise in the 0 volts position, otherwise it won't initiate the test. It says to start a test, please turn the output control knob to the minimum position. So it's reminding us to do that. Once we're at the minimum position, now we can increase the voltage, and it'll auto scale the microseconds per division. And we want to increase the voltage slowly until we achieve the appropriate test voltage. Okay, now that we're completed with the test, we'll just hit close. And then we want to make sure we hit the save results button to save the test.